right, back on Morning Line. It's our final segment this morning. John Viles joining us from over at MTSU. Good to have you on.
Good to be here.
Just you and I as a foil. Hey, look, we're just throwing opinions out that we don't know. You know, we just are trying to stimulate the conversation. Really, it's what you think that we want to hear. So we got some calls. How about it? Let's go back to Virgie now. Hi, Virgie.
Hey, how you doing, Nick?
Good. What's on your mind?
Oh, that was great TV. You got that right. Last night was great.
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on a few things. I thought he had a lot of sniffles going on. I'm wondering if he's got the stamina to stay in the race. He sounds like he's getting a little weak.
Huh.
And it kind of fell apart in the beginning because when she mentioned her dad and how hard he worked, for some reason that upset him, and he kind of fell apart then. I just want to also say that when he answers questions, he answers them with a long, detailed description on why that is a question, and then gives a short little answer with no details. She was the clear winner last night. She gave multiple answers to the questions. I will say that a couple of those questions were geared more for him because they were talking about why he thought she had a low stamina, and that wasn't an issue as far as policies go. I really wish they could have stayed more on policies and not with the emails and the why he should file his tax reports, because clearly he's not going to display those. And that's my thoughts.
Hey, thank you for your call. Yeah, the sniffles, I guess some people started taking note of that. And again, when it comes to the sniffles, and I saw he drank from the water, none of that bothered me, and I don't think that. Yeah, I understand he was bringing up, Fergie, stamina, and you could say, well, look, I'm convinced both these candidates have the stamina it will take.
I am too. I think one of the things that she brought up, one of the lines that may help, in addition to the taxes, is the notion that Trump may have stiff people in terms of people like you and I, or the viewers.
She was mentioning her father, and that there were merchants.
And both, by the way, mentioned. He mentioned his 10-year-old son. She mentioned her 2-year-old granddaughter.
Yes,
and that's sort of an attempt to humanize. Make them seem more like one of the people. What I thought the most interesting sort of thing of the night was what Trump saying he had something very not nice to say, but he decided not to say it. It's like inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
Was it the Jennifer Flowers card, or what was it? I don't know.
Right. I wondered what that was, and why bring it up if you're not going to say it? It's kind of like, come on, man. But I did wonder too. Remember, there was some talk about Mark Cuban getting a front row seat
I don't think he did.
a burr in Trump's saddle, and he did not. And then Trump's campaign, or they never acknowledged they were going to do this, but whether Jennifer Flowers, had an affair with Bill.
Sort of mind games.
Yeah, mind games.
Pre-debate mind games.
I did try to watch, and I watch a lot of their faces, whether or not sometimes they would look out into the audience. You couldn't see who they were looking at, or whether they acknowledged anyone. I didn't see much of that. I did see Donald Trump look out, but it was never like a nod.
Well, of course,
same thing with Hillary.
Clinton had a former president for a husband out in the audience.
Oh, I know.
There was some discussion as to whether he really didn't want to be there, but he thought he needed to.
Is that right? Do you think he wanted to be there or not?
I think that he prefers to be, not to be there for fear that he'll be distracting, but felt that he ought to last night.
Chelsea was there, and of course Donald Trump's children were there, and the families. So let's go next to Pamela. Hi, Pamela.
Hello.
Hi, Pam. What's on your mind?
Okay. I know I watched the debate last night, and Hillary came off really well as far as policy for, I think that she was really outspoken, where Trump was, I never got really anything out of him except for a lot of trying to interrupt her when she was trying to discuss policy. I never got any policy out of him. Every question that he was asked, he just went on and on and on about, it wasn't on the subject he was supposed to be talking about. So I really think that Hillary came off really well last night. And as far as stamina goes, I think she's got it to go all the way.
Well, we will see. I mean, I'll say this. Trump had his points. I heard one commentator talk about the contrast between the two last night, that Hillary was kind of like giving a longer speech sometimes on issues. Trump would hit the big points. He was a bumper sticker. Someone described his delivery as like a bumper sticker, meaning just a couple of words, but hitting what he felt was important. Whereas Hillary, maybe as she said, gave a little more detail, which could be reflective of their styles. Trump didn't want to prepare, and he didn't give a ton of details, but he did hit on what some of the key points were.
He did. One of the things that he did, I thought, a little better than she did, is he kept the electoral map in mind. Numerous times he mentioned Pennsylvania and Ohio.
Yeah.
He also got in Michigan, maybe Wisconsin as well. But I don't remember her mentioning any of these key states. He clearly knew where the votes are that he needs.
And, you know, that's good strategy. Let's go to Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
This is Lester Holt was throwing them off softballs. I mean, listen, first of all, you know, he didn't say anything about the emails. I'm on the talk show. And it had to be brought up with Trump's response to another question. You know, when they were saying some stuff, and Trump goes, oh, no, she wanted him to release his taxes. And she goes, I'll release my taxes when you release those 33,000 emails. Holt never brought that out. Number two, the birther thing. Holt brought that up just as a stinging point. And that, you know, they're pretty much settled. You know, it's just one thing after another. Even the last question of the debate, when he goes, will you both accept the outcome of the election, which is meant to be a jab at Trump, because he said, hey, you know, this thing's going to be rigged. But he did mention the $20 trillion in debt. You know, that's a big major thing people are concerned about. He's the only one who mentioned that. He hammered that home. And then Lester Holt, he was badgering him about a couple other things. I can't remember what it was, but you could tell that Holt was after Trump.
You think so? I mean, and now do you think Trump still did pretty well, or do you think that's a reason?
He didn't prepare for nothing. He didn't give a crap. He just came on there and said what he said. He mentioned Ohio. You know, next time he's got to mention, you know, energy. He's got to mention, you know, she's all for, you know, clean energy. All he's got to do is mention how she slammed them coworkers in Ohio, Pennsylvania. He's going to wrap up them things. I'm telling you right now, last night, Trump took the Rust Belt. Ohio, Pennsylvania. You know, I don't think he's going to get Wisconsin, but he definitely shored up Ohio and Pennsylvania, guaranteed last night. And he's winning to Florida.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if him mentioning those states, I think it shows that he's aware of it. But I mean, if I'm living in one of those states just because he mentioned me during the debate, that shows that he's going to probably come visit and it's important. But I'm not like, oh, he mentioned us, I'm going to vote for him.
Well, I think he's done a little bit more visiting there also, particularly in the last week or two. So he's probably trying to reinforce that.
It's smart for him to say those things, I think.
I will disagree with Brian a little bit. I think Trump himself has made enough of the birther issue that it would almost be malpractice not to ask him something about it.
He had to ask that, only because of what he had recently said, where he just changed in full stream what he had been saying all along. I mean, yeah, you had to ask that. And Trump even acknowledged, I think, on that question that he expected that to come.
He did.
He did expect that. You know, I just had the numbers released. Mark Binder, our programming director here at Channel 5, you know, gets the ratings. And just to give you a sense of locally how many people watched this debate here, he says if you combine the broadcast and cable stations in Nashville that carried last night's debate, and that's all of them, it's not just Channel 5, it's all the stations, it comes to an average of a 47 rating, a 63 share of the audience. That's huge, okay? I mean, that's up there, you know, approaching Super Bowl levels, you know, sometimes with that much. But that's everyone combined. So locally, an awful lot of people.
And there
watched.
was Monday Night Football, right?
Oh, yeah, it was Monday Night Football, kind of a blowout, I guess. I flipped back and forth. Now, I stayed on the debate, but yeah, Monday night. Remember, that was an issue at one point. I think Trump actually brought up. Why are you having the debates on Monday when we're up against America's game? Which was a fair question, but I think. most people probably just DVR'd the game and watched the
Probably
debate
so.
and how that goes. Well, listen, Professor, as I said, we've got 2 more debates to come. This one, though, in your opinion, clearly was the biggie in terms of the initial audience.
Yes.
Would you agree, based on
You
what I
only
just described?
have one time to make a first impression.
Yeah, first impression. I think both candidates, I think we both agree, emerged fairly unscathed when it comes to whether or not there was a major gaffe. I didn't see either candidate make a major gaffe. I think whether you believe Trump won or Hillary Clinton won, I think that it's not a huge factor in terms of changing people's minds radically. I
think
just
that's
don't
correct.
see that, right? Well, the next debate will be Sunday, October 9th, Washington University, St. Louis. It's going to be a town hall. We'll have you on the next day. How about that, my friend?
Sounds great.
Professor, thank you for coming on. Just like
Glad to
sitting
be
here
here.
chit-chatting. We're good
It's
back
fun.
and forth. Folks, take a break. Be back with a programming note about tomorrow right after this. Stay with us.